Victory Boy! Show your move. Good news, everyone. Don't you little giddy when you see onions have
Welcome to 20th Century Boy. My name is Radio Mike, and this is the inside of my mind. Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to the show. Happy to have you here again. Another week of the show, another week where you're still listening and I'm still here, which is always a plus. I hope you've been well. I've been alright. I've been just trying to get back into fitness and stuff, because I feel like in life it's really impossible to balance every single thing in your life. You can't balance work, social life, relationships, exercise, hobbies, leisure. You can't, if you prioritize one, others have to suffer, which is one of the worst parts about life in my opinion. But I guess I always just have to sometimes reset and figure out what I want to focus on and try and balance everything as much as I can. And at the moment, yeah, I'm just trying to get back into fitness and go to the gym and run more. And just because I noticed that, as I was prioritizing this podcast, which I love doing, but I just noticed my fitness just went off the track. Actually, it all went off the track last year when my appendix came out. For those who don't know, I had some severe abdominal pains for 2 months, and then I went to a doctor finally, and they told me my appendix was pretty much about to burst and I needed to get it out. And then after I got it out, which was a grueling and painful process, I didn't know my body was capable of feeling that much pain. They told me I shouldn't do any heavy lifting for 2 weeks, and that 2 weeks basically just lasted the past year. So yeah, trying to get back into that, because I feel like my fitness and my exercise regime and my diet and all those things are so linked to my mental health. And if I don't exercise, my mental health suffers. And yeah, I think it's important to keep a balance of all that. But enough about me. This podcast isn't about me. Well, actually, yes, it's exclusively about me. But the podcast couldn't come together without my trusty editor Mike, who's here. As always, how are you, man? Mike, look, to be honest, I'm not good. I'm feeling pretty upset at the moment. You're feeling upset? What? Why is that, man? Look, Marianne has left me again for a much younger man, and it completely took me by shock. I did not see it coming. Some other people seem to have seen it coming in the Facebook group this week. Oh yeah, there's a Facebook group for this podcast, facebook.com/group/20th Century Boy. Yeah, exactly, Mike. And I'm just upset. My wife has left me. I thought our marriage was back together, but I'm sorry to start off on a sour note, but yeah, I'm really upset. That's absolutely awful, Editor Mike. I'm so sorry. Fuck, that's a terrible way to start the podcast off. God, if there's anything I can do, please let me know, because that's terrible. Do you know who it is that she's run off with? Yes, I do, Mike. And you may have noticed it's been a pretty bitter and terrible environment in the office today, and that's because the man that my wife has been cheating with, is in the room right now. Oh, Ciggy Mike. Look, alright, I fucking had no idea. I swear, I had fucking no idea. Whoa, guys, let's keep it reasonable. You both work on the show. We need you both, alright? Something personal has happened, but we're in a workplace environment. Ciggy Mike, I'm going to let you have your say. It seems like, you are the perpetrator of this, and I did see it coming last week. I'll cut some audio of that here. Hang on, sorry guys, just 1 second. Does neither of you see what's going on here? No alarm bells ringing for you? I just didn't want to be the one to break it to you, Editor Mike, but I think we had all figured it out 2 weeks ago, which sucks. I just don't understand why you wouldn't tell me. I think it's very rude that you sort of knew, but no one. We tried to tell you, man. You wouldn't listen. Ciggy Mike, have your say. Look, fuck. I met Marianne on a fucking wasted night out at Revs. Just fucking wasted. She was there, and we just fucking made out. We were just both fucking drunk. We were just making out. She didn't fucking tell me she was married, right? She didn't fucking tell me. And then we were on our 6th day, and we were just going out. She's wild. We're just going out at the mic. She's wild. And she just broke the news to me then. I was just like, you want Ciggy? I just said, after sex, I was just like, you want Ciggy? And she was like, nah. And she was just like, by the way, I'm married. right?
So you knew she was married?
Yeah, I knew she was married, right? I didn't know she was married to Editor Mike.
But you knew she was married and you, like, still went ahead with it?
Yeah, because it wasn't... It could have been anyone. Yeah, but I think what Mike's getting at, Ciggy Mike, is that, you know, being, you know, sleeping with someone who tells you they're married isn't really the best choice. Mate, I don't care. Like, if I knew it was your wife, Editor Mike, if I knew it was your wife, I would have just had a ciggy, walked away. Right? I would not have done it, but it could have been anyone, right? That's why I fucking did it, right? I didn't know it was a bro. I would have done the bro code. You know, Barney Stinson, the bro code. I would have done that.
I don't know what... This is really uncomfortable, and I think it's going to cause a lot of issues in the workplace.
No. You don't worry about that. You know what? Editor Mike and Mike, Radio Mike, I've sorted it out. Last week I was talking a lot about barley, and Mike cut some of the audio of that here. You know, thinking about barley just fucking gets my heart racing. It's my home. Barley's my second home. It's just fucking sick out there, and like we should go on a group holiday there, like for Christmas party or something, and I'll just fucking show you guys ropes, just fucking sick. It just got me thinking, and I just think me and Marianne, your wife, Editor Mike, and my girlfriend, right? We just need to get away from all this, right? We just fucking need to get away from all this. Have a few ciggies, right? Have a few drinks. I booked us a flight to Bali. We're leaving tonight. I've got to leave early because we got to fucking catch a plane, all right? So don't even worry about it. I'm going to be away for the next 3 weeks or so in Bali, just soaking it up, going wild with Marianne. You guys just do whatever, right? We need air. We need space from all the press, all the bad press.
What press? Who's like writing... No one's writing stories up about you and Marianne. You're nobody's.
No, I swear there's been like 2 or 3 stories on like news.com and like The Age or something.
There's been no stories about you, Ciggy Mike. That's absolute bullshit. Okay, well, you can leave early today. Editor Mike, I'm so sorry, man. Maybe we can get a drink or something after the show to talk about this.
Yeah, look, I really just need friends and support at the moment, so any listeners who could reach out and give me support would be great. I'd really love that. Voice messages or whatever, just send them to radiomikepod@gmail.com. That'd be great.
Yeah, all right, mate. Well, unfortunately, we need to trudge on with the show. I can see you're upset and it sucks, so we can talk a little bit more about this later. Guys, I'm so sorry to all the listeners that you're in the middle of this absolute mess. My editor's wife has had an affair with my intern, Ciggy Mike. And now they're going off to Bali together today. Which is completely fucked, and I'm really sorry you're in the middle of it. But we, as always on this show, we have a catchphrase on this show. It is, you gotta be shitting me, which is code for, you're kidding me, you're joking, whatever, bloody hell, no way, that kind of thing. And every week we feature one on the show, so Editor Mike, I know you're upset, but do you mind hitting this segment?
You gotta be shitting me.
You gotta be shitting me.
You gotta be shitting me. You have got to be shitting me.
This is You Gotta Be Shitting Me of the Week. Now with 100% less Editor Mike. So fuck you.
Got to give you a bit of credit out of the mic. You're in a bad mood, but you're fucking nailing those buttons today.
Oh, thanks, Radio Mike. Look, if there's one thing I am good at, it might not be marriage, but, you know, it's pushing the buttons on your podcast.
Thanks, mate. That's really sad. Hey, last week we had our first international language, you got to be shitting me, from Radio Polo. And Radio Polo sent in his Chilean way of saying you got to be shitting me. Let's cut the audio here out of the mic.
Me estáis weando.
Fucking great work. Now, we put the call out for more international language, you gotta be shitting me's, and boy, did you guys deliver. Well, not you guys. One of you in particular fucking delivered. I was so happy to see this come in my inbox. Now, it's Radio Whitey. Welcome to the radio family, Radio Whitey. He sent an email in. He says, hey, Radio Mike, long-time listener, first-time emailer. Been loving the pod. Currently, I'm in Berlin, Germany, and last week I was in The Hague, and Amsterdam in the Netherlands. I had the plan to approach randoms and record them saying you gotta be shitting me in their native language for the podcast. Unfortunately, it appears that Radio Polo has beaten me to the punch on international versions. Hey man, that's completely fine. This is perfect timing. You've done a great job. He says, either way, please find attached You've Gotta Be Shitting Me or their closest translations in Dutch and German. Let's hit the German one first.
So you're gonna say we've got to be shitting me. You've got to be shitting me in German. All right, here we go.
Du willst mich wohl verarschen.
Dankeschön.
Man, oh man, that's great. Radio Whitey, take 50 mic points for that, but that's not all. As he said, he's got it in 2 languages. Let's hit the Dutch one, the Dutch way of saying you gotta be shitting me. And feel free to spread these around and send in any you gotta be shitting me's. Put a creative spin on it. Hit that Dutch you gotta be shitting me out of the mic.
So we're saying you got to be shitting me in Dutch. How do you say it?
Dat meen je niet.
Dat meen je niet. Sorry.
Dat meen je niet.
Dat meen je niet.
Take another 50 mic points for that. Radio Whitey, mic points are the currency of the show, and you accumulate the currency of mic points by any contribution to the show. A whopping 100 mic points from Radio Whitey for that one. Well done, man.
Fuck, man, that was absolutely... Like, I don't know any other fucking languages because I'm, like, straight Aussie. I'm just straight Aussie. So I don't know any languages. I did, like, Italian at school for, like, year prep to, like, year 3, but I fucking hated it. Like, so it's cool hearing... I didn't know there were other languages. I thought there was just fucking one language.
Okay, Ciggy Mike, whatever. Hey, thank you so much for sending in You Gotta Be Shitting Me's. There's a huge backlog of these in my inbox, so keep them up. I'll feature all of you eventually. So thank you so much to Radio Whitey for that one today. Very quickly on the topic of mic points, and there is a lot to get through today, so I just want to do this really quickly. As I said, you accumulate mic points. 300 mic points lets you become a radio superstar. Hit it, editor Mike.
Radio Superstar.
We currently have 2 radio superstars, Radio Soph and Radio Pat. Basically, to become a radio superstar, 300 mic points. I ring you, you answer with I wake up with today, and if you answer correctly, you become a radio superstar. Radio Juddman was the next person in line to become one. I called him last week, and this happened.
Can't take your call at the moment. Please leave a message after the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press hash for more options.
How did we feel about that, guys?
Mate, Mike, I bloody, that was the worst part of my week until Mary Ann left me this week.
Yeah, right. That is awful.
Yeah, fuck. Same with me. That was the worst part of my week. That's it. Not about Mary Ann. That was the fucking worst part of my week. Do you guys want a Ciggy? I'm just gonna have a Ciggy.
Ciggy Mike, I think everyone's getting sick of Do You Want a Ciggy? I'm glad we're fleshing you out as a character and that you're about to leave, all right? Stop with the Ciggies for now.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just going to have a Ciggy, all right? I'm just going to light one up.
Okay, no worries. Radio Juddman didn't answer. It went to Message Bank, and he posted in the Facebook group this week, I had no service when I got the call. So sad. I hope the radio family can forgive me and give me another chance to prove myself. And I asked you guys, do you think Radio Juddman should get another shot? And lots of opinions. Radio Polo just said, you gotta be shitting me, regular Radio Judd. Patrick, Radio Pat, and already a radio superstar, said, give Juddman another chance. Radio Harry, a bit on the negative side, he said, if you knew you were going to be without cell service, why didn't you contact Mike beforehand? Very, very interesting. See, Radio Harry's, I think, playing it pretty fair. He should have contacted me to tell him he wasn't available. In that thread, people start getting really technical about the rules of the game. But Radio Whitey actually pops in and he says, I think everyone's a bit too serious here. Fuck it. Give him another go. The great thing about mic points is there's no legal governing body behind them, so the rules can change at any time. Thank you so much for all your input. All of you can take 20 mic points each for your contributions there. And the board here, which is me, Editor Mike, and Ciggy Mike, have thought this one through a lot, and we've decided that we're going to give you another chance, Radio Juddman, okay? Radio Juddman's going to get another chance, but this is to prove that you're a very loyal listener to the show. You are going to have to... you're going to have to prove that you've heard this episode, which means you're a loyal listener. And you have to, instead of saying I wake up with today next time I ring, all you have to say, actually a bit easier, you just have to say, hey, it's Radio Juddman reporting for duty. You have to say that when you answer the phone. And if you don't say it, you're banned from the podcast forever and you lose all your mic points, unfortunately. So good luck with that, man. I hope you go well.
Yeah, fuck. I would get it.
Oh, yeah?
I would just get it. Because if I got the 300 mic points, Radio Mike,
yeah,
I just wouldn't leave my phone. I would not leave my phone. Just be fucking sitting there. I'd get a pack of ciggies, a pack of darts. I'd just fucking sit by my phone all day.
Yeah, well, I guess that is the attitude we're kind of looking for. I mean, we don't want you to leave. If you're not available, you should let me know. You get a reprieve on this one, Radio Judd. But I might not be so generous next time. So that'll be coming in the next week, Radio Juddman. So look out for it. But guys... we do need to move on. We can't just talk about this stuff all day. We can't just talk about mic points and Radio Juddman and Radio Superstars all day. Some of us have places to be and things to do. But I really wanted to talk about this next thing this week because, man, oh man, this was one of the coolest things ever happened in the past week. And that is that the Detective Pikachu Pokemon live-action movie came out, and I saw it in the cinemas. What did you think? If you've seen it, let me know. Man, I've been waiting for this movie for so long. As you all know, like, I'm like this hardcore kid who like never really grew out of Pokemon. I could name them all. I think they're fucking sick. And like building up to this movie, I remember when they announced that it was going to be Detective Pikachu, I was so disappointed. I just thought, why wouldn't they just do a proper Pokemon movie? Why does it have to be Detective Pikachu? And for those who don't know, Detective Pikachu was like a spin-off, a game on Nintendo DS where you kind of go around as a Detective Pikachu finding clues and whatever and solving some crime. I don't know, I never even played it, but yeah. So they were going to adapt that for screen, and they did, and I saw the trailer for it as well, and I was really mixed. Ryan Reynolds is the voice of Detective Pikachu.
I know, you can't understand me, but put down the stapler, or I will electrocute you!
And man, I have so much to say about this movie, like I'm just trying to get all my thoughts together because it was so fucking awesome.
Oh, fuck, Mike, you blade baby. I stopped playing Pokemon when I was like fucking 5. Pokemon's fucking for kids, mate. Fucking grow the fuck up. Get out there and fucking kick a footy or get outside or something. Do something men do. Men don't fucking play Pokemon, fucking idiot.
Ciggy Mike, that was pretty vicious. That was a vicious attack on me.
Mate, I just fucking tell it like it is. You said I can't talk Ciggies anymore. Now I'm just gonna fucking talk. My thing, instead of Ciggies, is gonna be I just speak my mind. I just fucking speak my mind whenever the fuck I want.
All right, Ciggy Mike, whatever. I'm glad you're going to Bali at the end of this episode. I saw it, and honestly, I thought it was really good. Like, I think, considering video game movies in the past have a history of being terrible, like, I think this was pretty good. Probably the best video game-based movie I've ever seen. I actually think Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu worked really well. I really, really enjoyed the dynamic of that, and I think it was important to have a Pokemon, a main character Pokemon that could talk. Originally, I thought that was pretty jarring, but I did really enjoy that happened.
So there I was. I woke up with a heavy case of amnesia in the middle of nowhere. The only clue to my past is Harry's name and address inside this hat.
As far as the story goes, I thought it was really, like, it was pretty goofy at times, a little bit cheesy, a little bit obnoxious, but at the same time, I thought for what it was, the story was fine. The storyline at the start, there's a really amazing callback to the first Pokemon movie, which was called Mewtwo Strikes Back, where the Pokemon Mewtwo is created. Mewtwo is a genetically created Pokemon cloned from the Pokemon Mew. So it's the first human, or one of the first human created Pokemon.
We dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon. And we succeeded.
And, Mewtwo is, without, I won't put any spoilers in this, but Mewtwo is one of the main characters, or the main villain at least, in the movie. And honestly, Mewtwo is one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but there's a lot of Pokemon that sort of pop up in the background, and it's really cool, like Squirtle and Bulbasaur and Charmander obviously all do. And then the other thing is, like, it's not just the first generation Pokemon. Like, you get Pokemon from pretty much every generation 1 through 7 popping up and in the background and such. So there's a really good representation that I think any Pokemon fan could really, really enjoy. The only problem I found with it in that sense, and this is probably because I'm such a hardcore fan, and I totally appreciate that, like, creating these live action Pokemon that do look really cool and have a completely different spin on them, and like they look really lifelike. I realize that that's expensive and time consuming to create a 3D model of a Pokemon like that. What I notice is that there's probably like, in Pokemon, there's probably like 800 Pokemon or more by now, but the background Pokemon that are kind of in, like, just in the world that you see, they do repeat them a lot. Like, they're not changing them up a lot, so you'll just see the same Pokemon a lot of the times. That wasn't really an issue. I saw the movie with someone who didn't really know many of the Pokemon, so they didn't see it as an issue. But I guess for me, I really noticed when they were doubling up on the Pokemon and stuff. But I didn't really mind it that much. I thought it was it was quite a charming movie, and I think if you grew up watching Pokemon, if you had any understanding of Pokemon, you probably wouldn't mind this movie. You'd probably just you'd enjoy it a bit. It's not a terrible movie like most video game adaptations. The Super Mario Bros. Movie that came out in the 90s was notoriously a failed, terrible, weird movie. I've seen it. It's crazy. Definitely watch it because it is just super, super weird. I also thought that a lot of my favorite Pokemon ended up being represented in this film. Like I said, Mewtwo is one of my favorite Pokemon, but one of the first Pokemon you see is Cubone, who's like a little, lizard kind of thing that wears a skull over its head. Cubone and its evolution Marowak are probably two of my favorite Pokemon. I just really, really like them and their designs and their stories. Also Torterra, who's like a land turtle that has trees growing off its back, is another one of my favorite Pokemon, and that plays a role in it as well. So I thought that was really cool for me. And if people want to know like my top 10 Pokemon of all time, I can definitely do that in a podcast coming up, but I'll have to think about it for a long time because it'd take me ages to actually figure that out. I really, really like it, and I hope they make more live action Pokemon films. And I don't necessarily think they need to do Detective Pikachu again. Like, I think there's so much lore in the Pokemon universe, in the games, that they could just make stories about anything. Like, they could, for example, one of the things I thought was they could just do a monster film like Godzilla or King Kong, where like there are so many Pokemon that would work for that. But I would love to see the Generation 3 Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald legendary Pokemon, Groudon, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, who are like the gods, or not the gods, but the representatives of land, sea, and sky. And they're these big monsters, and I'd love to see a fight between them and humans trying to deal with it and fighting them with their Pokemon. Whereas in like most movies like Godzilla or something, they're just firing guns at Godzilla. Whereas if you could actually have Pokemon battles and stuff, I think that'd be sick. But the other thing I always thought was amazing, would be amazing, is like if somehow they pulled together like, even if it was a series, and I know it'd be super expensive to make this, but like kind of like a fake documentary, like a David Attenborough style, like the Earth, or like, you know, Antarctica, David Attenborough, but based on the Pokemon world. So it's just, you know, and it could be a bit tongue-in-cheek, but still sort of pretending it's serious, and just looking at how the Pokemon live and operate together in their world. And it's just a documentary with David Attenborough narrating it. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I think it would be fucking awesome. Special shout-outs in Detective Pikachu to there's a scene with the Pokemon Mr. Mime, who's always been a really weird and jarring Pokemon. He's like a humanoid kind of Pokemon that is a mime, based on like a mime or a clown, and he's really creepy. But they did an amazing scene that was genuinely hilarious that involved Mr. Mime. I don't want to ruin it. It's just such a joy to watch this character kind of interact with other characters and miming and that kind of thing. There's also a hilarious scene where Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu sings the original Pokemon theme, and there's a lot of really good, genuine laughs in this movie. But as I said, I think the star of the show is Mewtwo. I think other than Pikachu and Jigglypuff and like Charizard and stuff, I think Mewtwo is one of the, you know, the all-out big Pokemon that a lot of people would recognize just from playing the games. As I said, he's a genetically altered version of Mew, a cloned version of Mew, and he's like often portrayed as a villain, but I think Mewtwo is an incredible character. And I think that the thing about Mewtwo is that he was all 90s kids' first exposure to an existential crisis. His story is so interesting, and he is sort of one of the mascots of Pokemon. Like, he pops up he's a playable character in Super Smash Bros. He's got a few movies like based on him. So he is a really, really popular Pokemon. He's a really strong Pokemon. And I just think the first Pokemon movie, as I said, Mewtwo Strikes Back, is about him being created by scientists who want to create the strongest Pokemon in the world by cloning Mew. Mew is like the ancestor of all Pokemon. It's supposed to look a little bit like a fetus, because that's sort of the thing it's feeding into a bit.
For years we struggled to successfully clone a Pokemon to prove our theories, but you're the first specimen to survive. That is Mew, the rarest of all Pokemon. From its DNA we created you, Mewtwo.
Mewtwo? Am I only a copy? Nothing but Mew's shadow?
You are greater than Mew, improved through the power of human ingenuity.
In Mewtwo Strikes Back, Mewtwo kind of has an existential crisis. Like, he realizes that he's been created to serve this purpose of humans.
So I am simply the end result of your experiment. What becomes of me now that your experiment is over?
Oh, our experiment isn't over yet. It's just beginning. Now the serious testing begins.
These humans, they care nothing for me. Is that my purpose? Am I just an experiment? A laboratory specimen? This cannot be my destiny.
That he just doesn't understand why he was created or why he exists, and he thinks that his goal is to destroy humanity and to destroy people and and create stronger Pokemon and be the strongest. And that's kind of where that movie sort of centers around. And he's a very angry and domineering personality in that movie, but he's also clearly really existential and scared and afraid. And I feel like I genuinely was just thinking about it the other day, and like, Mewtwo is all of us. Like, he was just born. He didn't know why he was born. Turns out he was created for someone else's pleasure or for someone else's purpose of what he should do. And then he kind of just freaked out and didn't really know what to do from there. So he started like attacking everyone.
You were created by humans to obey humans. You could never be our equal.
Humans may have created me, but they will never enslave me. This cannot be my destiny.
Stop this now!
I was not born a Pokemon, I was created. And my creators have used and betrayed me. So, I stand alone.
By the end of the film, he learns his lesson and he realizes this.
I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are.
I believe I have played that grab on the podcast before, but it's one of my favorite quotes of all time. And I think when I was a kid, I didn't grasp the importance of this character, and I think no kid would. No kid would actually realize how deep Mewtwo is as a character. And I know this is really weird, like, it's a Pokemon, you know, don't take it so seriously, but I think these themes are pretty important, and we learn a lot about humanity from Mewtwo. Mewtwo is a being that constantly asks and wonders why he is and what his purpose is and what he has to do.
Who am I? What is my true reason for being? I will find my own purpose.
And I just relate to that so much now. And I think that in the same way, like, my personal view on birth and children is that I think it's great, but at the same time, I think nobody in the world chooses to be born. Nobody chooses to be alive. Your sole purpose and the reason you're being born is because your parents, in most cases, have decided that their lives should have a baby. Like, in their lives, they will get happiness from having a baby. Your existence is there to satisfy them and to, you know, in most cases when people plan a pregnancy, it's your existence is to serve a purpose for them. It's not even necessarily about you, and they assume they can give you a great life. And I feel like, I know that sounds really negative, and I certainly don't regret the fact that I was born. I love life, and I love every blessing that I have in life and every privilege that I have in life. But I certainly feel a lot of comfort looking back, and I like, this is why I say, like, oh, it's not important, it's just a Pokemon. But I guess as an adult, and this is sort of at the core of what this podcast is about at times, as an adult, I look back at a character like Mewtwo and realize that, and as bizarre as this sounds, I realize that he's not that unlike me, and that he's not unlike all of us. He's literally the representation of humanity. And I think it's really special that, you know, a team of writers in Japan were able to, you know, make such a strong analogy and make such profound comments about life in a movie that was predominantly going to be seen by kids, maybe by some adults who are taking their kids and falling asleep in the cinema next to them. And at this point, I think that my generation was the first generation to experience Pokemon, right? So I don't think there were many, if any, adult fans of Pokemon at this time. I think there's more now because we like it for the nostalgia's sake. I guess I just wanted to talk a little bit about Mewtwo as a character. Who are you? Are there any childhood characters that you remember that, looking back, you realize they're a lot more complex than you thought they were? Pokemon was always really simple, it was always really basic. But then Mewtwo, I look back at Mewtwo and I do think there was a part of me as a kid that realized that there was something serious about this. There was something a bit different about this theme, but I guess I didn't have the intelligence or maturity at the time to understand his situation. I think adults could potentially get a lot out of watching the first Pokemon movie. But anyway, let me know any characters that spring to your mind when you think of this kind of thing. I'd love to know. Moving right along, Ciggy Mike, how are you going for time? Do you need to head off soon?
Mate, I've just fucking called the cab. Marianne's going past Marianne's house first, so don't worry, Ed and Mike. She's going to be in the cab waiting at the front, right? You're not going to have to see her, and we're just going to, we might, you don't come out, and we're just going to go straight to the airport. We won't even make out. We're not going to make out in the cab, right? Just as a respect to you.
Ciggy Mike, you're such a great guy, man. We're really glad that you're so generous to Ed and Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Ciggy Mike. I just can't believe this is happening, and you don't even seem to realise the severity of this. We've got kids, we've got grandkids, and I can't believe Marianne's done this. It's just awful. Fuck, that sucks. That sucks, Ed and Mike. Fuck, I can't. I don't know. I could not even begin to comprehend how you're feeling right now. That's fucked. I can't fucking wait for Bali though. Just so many things.
All right, let's move on. Last week we launched a brand new segment called Rhyme Crime, where we look at artists that are getting away with a little bit too much in their songs, and I have a brand new one, so I think it's about time we do.
Oh, Mike, I've always just wanted to fucking throw to a segment. Can I just throw to a segment? I just love hearing you do it. I just fucking want to do it so bad.
Yeah, okay, sure.
All right, fuck. I think it's about time we do Rhyme Crime with Radio Mike.
Radio Mike's Rhyme Crime.
So what is a rhyme crime, I hear you asking? It's when an artist rhymes the same word with the same word. So the same word is being used as a rhyme, which isn't a rhyme, it's just poor writing. And this one, man, this has been under my nose my entire life, and I only just realized it when I started this segment last week. This is absolutely insane. I cannot believe it. And feel free to send these in. I had a few people sending them in, and we'll start featuring them later in the shows, next week and the week after. But this one, I just had to get off my chest, and I want to know your thoughts on it. Because Avril Lavigne, man oh man, you have been committing a rhyme crime right under all of our noses this entire time. I'm sure you're all familiar with Avril Lavigne's greatest work. That's right, it's her song Skater Boy. Skater spelt with an 8 and boy spelt with an I for some apparent reason, but pronounced Skater Boy, from her album Let Go, her debut album back when she was like a punk rock girl. Here's a bit of the song here.
He was a boy, she was a girl. Can I make it any more obvious?
Avril Lavigne, you're about to get exposed and sent to rhyme jail because in that song, you commit a rhyme crime in every chorus. Here it is.
He was a skater boy, she said see you later boy.
That's right. He was a skater boy, she said see you later boy. Now, I know that it's like skater and later also rhyme, but it's still skater boy, later boy. It's like boy, boy. It's the exact same rhyme. Avril Lavigne, you are being done for a rhyme crime. You're going to rhyme jail. Last week we arrested Eminem for 2 years. He had 2 rhyme crimes. I'm going to put you in jail, in a cell, in rhyme jail with Eminem. You're there for 1 year, Avril Lavigne. You can't release an album for 1 year because of your rhyme crime, and you better bloody hope we don't find any more rhyme crimes. Right into the mic?
Yeah, Avril Lavigne shouldn't do any music ever again for her life. Just for all of our sakes.
Well, that was pretty vicious. You're both getting vicious today. Jesus. Okay, Avril Lavigne, I'm not going to take it quite that far. Just don't put an album out for a year. And don't do any more rhyme crimes. And that's been another edition of
Radio Mike's Rhyme Crime.
Guys, we have been reading this chapter of Harry Potter and the Boys for fucking weeks. We've been in the middle of a Quidditch game for weeks, and I think it's about time we get to the end of this chapter. So let's do this.
Harry Potter and the Boys, a live reading by Radio Mike.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
Snape.
It's Harry Potter and the Boys, my Year 7 Harry Potter fan fiction that I wrote in Year 7, but I guess that's obvious because I said it's my Year 7 fan fiction. Like I said, we're currently in a chapter called Gryffindor versus Slytherin, and basically we're nearly done this chapter. We're in the middle of a Quidditch match, and basically most of the Gryffindor players have been knocked off their brooms by the Slytherin players. There's only 3 players left, Michael and Rob, who are the 2 main boys, I guess, in the title, Harry Potter and the Boys, and then Tim, who's the Quidditch captain. Let's see where we end up this week. All right. Michael, Rob, and Tim were left on the field. Slytherin had somehow gained 150 points and were now leading Gryffindor 150 to 10. So, narrator has conveniently given Slytherin 150 points. They've just somehow gained them. We don't know. And this seems a perfect setup for Gryffindor to catch the snitch and win 160 to 150. Okay. A great light shined as bright as the sun. Tim, who was afraid of lights, fell off his broom straight away. Again, convenient storytelling. Apparently Tim is afraid of lights, even though there's probably lights everywhere in his waking life. Anyway, whatever. Rob and Michael were left on the field, and even worse, they had no keepers or chasers left. Rob thumped a bludger with his bat, and it luckily hit Squidvius Mooney. He's a beater for Slytherin, and his name is Squidvius, or Squid for short. Squid was knocked off his broom. Rob flew over to Michael and high-fived him, but he lost his balance and fell off his broom as well. "No!" shouted Michael. He went to high-five him and he fell off his broom. What a fucking idiot. So conveniently, Michael, the character based on me, is the Seeker and the only one left on the field and has to save the day, I assume. But let's find out. He had no hope now. He started to fly as if he had seen the snitch. Alexander Rock, he's apparently the Seeker for the Slytherin team, followed him, but so did everyone else on the Slytherin team, which was not what Michael had hoped. I guess that's true. Like, if they only have one player left, then everyone can just charge that player and get him off the broom and win by default. The Slytherin team was smart, though. If they knocked Michael off his broom, they had won. That's what I just said. I should have just kept reading. Anyway, they chased and chased him. Luckily, Michael had earned Nimbus 2325, and Michael was much faster than most of the Slytherin's Nimbus 2165. So he's got a Nimbus 200 more than the Slytherins. Jesus Christ, he must be rich. Michael sped off in search of the snitch. Then he looked at the ground. A sparkly gold object right on the ground. That's what it says. Then he looked at the ground, a sparkly gold object right on the ground. And then it says, could it be the golden snitch? And this is what it says. Could it be the golden snitch? Could it? Could it? Like, it says that twice. And then the narrator says, I don't know. Okay, so could it be the golden snitch? Could it? Could it? I don't know. Michael flew down to it. It was the snitch, just laying there doing nothing on the floor. And then it says, you see, the snitch got tired of flying around and the match was taking too long. So the snitch just decided to chill on the floor for a bit. Does the snitch have consciousness? Is a snitch conscious? Is it an animal or is it just an enchanted ball? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. He picked it up. Nobody seemed to notice that he had just caught or really picked up the snitch. Michael just walked off the field, feeling satisfied. No one realized that Michael had caught the snitch, so the game kept playing. No one wondered where he was or anything. They just keep playing, looking for the snitch that he's already caught. Michael woke up the next morning and looked outside his window. The Quidditch match was still going. Oh my god, okay. Okay, the chapter's nearly done, so we're looking okay. What the fuck? Michael said as the scene suddenly changed to Michael at the Quidditch pitch. So the narrator is describing camera cuts as if it's a movie. What the fuck, Michael said as the scene suddenly changed to Michael at the Quidditch pitch. I caught the snitch. Didn't you know? Okay, this is Michael talking. I caught the snitch. Didn't you know? Oh, didn't you know? I caught it yesterday. Didn't you know? Oh my god, didn't you know? I caught the snitch, he said. What the fuck? Why is he saying, didn't you know? Okay. And Gryffindor wins 160 to 150. Yeah, I mean, good game by all the players, said Jordan Lee. He's the commentator. Michael dropped the snitch and ran through the crowd of Gryffindors surrounding them. He ran to the hospital wing. That's where all the other boys have ended up because they fell off their brooms. He ran to the hospital wings, but Hagrid was blocking the entrance. Come to my hut, 2:00 in the morning, he said. If you don't, I'll whack you on the head with a fish. He said. Michael made a mental note to tell everyone that they had to go to Hagrid's that night. He entered the hospital wing. That's the end of the chapter. Next week, it looks like we're heading into the hospital wing.
Fuck, sorry, Mike. I know you're. I know we're recording. Cab's out front of the studio, guys. Fucking can't wait to get back with this team. But I need to do 3 fucking weeks in Bali with Marianne, and we're just gonna go fucking bonkers. Just go. Some people think I'm bonkers, but they're gonna pay for free. There's nothing crazy about me. Alright, fucking see you guys. That's a good time. I'm gonna miss you all. And the mic, I'm gonna miss you the most. You're a fucking legend, man. I fucking love working with you, man. Alright, see you later, guys. Alright, go. Fucking on people think I'm bonkers, but that's just take for free. My name is Ciggy Mike. There's nothing.
Well, I'm glad he's gone, to be honest. I was getting a bit sick of him. I hope maybe someone else could join the team sometime soon, or we could get intern Mike back or something like that. Editor Mike, what do you think? Yeah, look, I'm pretty indifferent. I'm not feeling great. Well, that sucks, man. I can see you're really sad, and I know that I haven't really taken it too seriously, but I wanted to say that I'm really sorry, man. I feel terrible for you, and I really hope you're okay.
Thanks, Mike. To be honest, this podcast has been a rock of support. You know, you've become a great friend of mine, and I'm really glad we're still working together. I'm really sad.
Man, if you need to take time off, you're welcome to. Like, take as much time as you need.
No, I'd love to be here. It's just sort of, a breakaway. It gives me, something else to do with my time instead of being at home sad.
Man, you know what? I'm not going to say that I know how you feel. I'm not going to say that I know how you feel because, nothing... what's happened to you certainly hasn't happened to me, but I guess from my own experience, I know that it can be really hard when something good comes to an end, and I guess that's kind of what's happened with you, and it's happened to me, and it's happened to everyone, not to the same extent as you, I get that, but it's certainly really hard, and I'm really sorry, man.
Well, thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'm glad there's other people that understand.
Absolutely, man, and you've got to talk about it as well. I mean, I guess I would say, since this podcast is sort of supposed to be a reflection of my own mental health to an extent, and, it's the inside of my mind, and everything that happens in this podcast is just the inside of my mind, I guess what I should say to you is that even though it's really sad when a good thing comes to an end, I suppose at the end of the day, I'd much rather that the good thing came to an end as opposed to nothing ever happening at all.
Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it, Mike.
And I think you've just got to cherish the good memories of things and then just go about your life and learn from your mistakes and keep moving, I suppose. You can't really do much else than that.
Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate you taking a serious tone to talk about this kind of thing. It means a lot to me.
No worries, man. Guys, thank you so much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoy making this podcast. And this podcast is the inside of my mind, as I always say. So talk to your friends and make sure you're okay, because sometimes life can be hard. And it is okay to talk about those things. And it's important to talk about these things. Follow me anywhere. Radio.Mike on Instagram. It's Radio Mike on Twitter. RadioMikePod@gmail.com. Ask your friends if they're okay. Follow me anywhere. There's only one thing I want to say. It's that my name is Radio Mike. And honestly, guys, this podcast's just been the inside of my mind or something like that. I don't know. I'm pretty busy. I wouldn't know. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.